again on the subject of Project 10, if I wanted the actual way to pass an argument from my main args down into my either start method or down in my connect the dots method, let's just take a look at how we should do that. And I'm going to take us to the documentation and then show you how I would read it and discover the method. Java application class. Good. Now the reason I chose this is because there's a lot of weirdness going on with the methods because I am using an application. Up at the top, I am extending an application. Extending, as you will learn if you go on to the next Java class, that means that my class is an application class, and then I can define some other things that makes my class special. But I'm starting with this whole big thing that's written for me called application. So let's take a closer look at that. What I'm most interested in is is the arguments. That was the point of this whole adventure into the browser here. And it tells you a little bit about the life cycle of the application, which is interesting. When the launch method is called from main, it does these 5 things. And then it tells you a little bit about it. So now look at this, parameters. Application parameters are available by calling the getParameters method. So I'm just going to keep track of this in a little file, and you might like to do this on paper as you get used to dealing with the Java doc, but I'm just going to put, or maybe it'll be faster for me here to just type it, to type the getParameters method. Haha, she says as her spinning wheel, getParameters. Okay, so that's the first method that I need to call. And so I'm interested in what is that return value. Let's go check out that getParameters method. It says back here it says that I can call it anywhere from init and then afterwards. So that sounds good. This one says retrieves the parameters, and then it gives it back as some big return type application.parameters. What the heck is that? Let me write that down. It's giving me an application.parameters. Okay, so now I need to go figure out what an application.parameters class looks like so I can figure out what I can call on that. Let's click on that. This says, okay, it encapsulates the set of parameters. Great. What kind of methods can I call on this? Get named, get raw, and get unnamed. I'm not really sure, say, at this point, whether I would want a named one or an unnamed one, so I'm just going to get the raw arguments, like exactly as they come from the command line. So get raw, and it looks like get raw returns me a list. So I know that I'm going to need to call get raw. Let's just keep track here. And that's going to give me a list of strings. That makes sense, since the array is an array of strings. And now now that I have a hands on a list of strings, a list, it looks like another class. Well, what method can I call on this? Let's click on that to see. Like if I want to get the first one out of a list, how do I get that? And so I'm going to go down to the methods. Add, no, clear, no, contains, no, equals, no, get, index. Aha! Perfect. So I can call get and it returns the element at the specified position. That sounds awesome. Exactly like what I want. So I know I'm going to have to call get. So if I need to chain these all together, now that I've written all these down, I can see that what I'm going to need to do is say get parameters. Then I'm going to call get raw on it. And then I'm going to call get, and I'm going to pass 0, because that should be my 0 parameter. Now I'm going to have to also figure out if there is something at the 0 position, and so I'm just going to take one more trip down into the list documentation to see how I find the length of the list, since I've never used list before. Is empty, so no. Iterator, last index of, remove, no. There's no length. I'm kind of bummed that there's no length sitting in here, but we'll keep going. Replace, no, set, aha, size, returns the number of elements in this list. So size. That's what I'm going to need to know. So get and then also size are the things that I'm going to be interested in lists. So let's see how I could take this get parameters, get raw, get 0 and apply it to my code. That means that anywhere I can call it. So I could call it down and connect the dots. Instead of file name, let's put a big get parameters. What did I say it was? Get raw dot get raw dot get 0. Okay, so I'm going to leave, there's going to be a crash if I don't have any parameters, but let's just make sure this part works. Oh, yeah, total crash because index out of bounds exception. Yeah, because I didn't have any arguments. Okay, that's what I expected. Chords.txt. Beautiful, just prints it out, chords.txt. Okay, so far so good. So now I just need to add one more thing which makes sure that I have something in that list. So I can say if this whole deal, the list part, dot size is greater than 0, do something clever. That should protect me against that null pointer exception index out of bounds problem. Let's just test that theory. Yes, it does not print out. It also does not crash. And then if I do pass something on the command line, it prints it out. There's your long answer. Do with this what you will.